Andrew. How are you, mate? Just made a follow-up video from the workshop that we did the other night. Just wanted to run you through a couple of key components to and a couple of the key fundamental rules. So first and foremost, the thing I need you to get right 100% is the rules of the rule number 1, position, placement, pressure, and progression. Rule number 2, understanding nature and behavior. Rule number 3, being able to apply the perfect amount of pressure in the exact position every time. And then rule number 4 is not creating tension to relieve tension. And Amanda, same goes with you. You're going to go through these same fundamental activities. I'll get you to focus on glute 1 and glute 2. I'll take you through a sitting posture position at the end. We'll also, Amanda, you'll work through your calf in 2 different ways, and Andrew, you'll do lateral, you'll do the glute 3, which is the lateral hip, you'll do the lateral quad, and also the quad release that I'll take you through. So we'll work through that in a sequence: glute 1, glute 2 for both of you, glute 3, glute, lateral quad and quad, Andrew, calf, Amanda. And then the sitting posture at the end, which will be for both of you, and then we'll touch base and work on that a little bit more when we catch up in a couple more days. Hope everything's going well. But yeah, fundamentally, let's go through what we did the other night. So again, the base rules about how to self-treat: always position your body correctly, apply the pressure, perfect pressure, don't create tension to relieve tension. So the glute work that we do: 2 big balls in your bum. Position 1, laying flat on your back, knees bent up, feet flat on the ground. Lift the bum up. 2 large balls sit high in the glutes. Yep, just locate them nicely. Perfect. So that's your placement. So position, placement, pressure for glute 1, cross the left leg over the right. Pressure, progression, drop the left leg out to the left side just marginally. And then we're going to look and feel for something that's tight or tender. Okay? Once you find that spot, we think about rule number 2, understanding nature and behavior. So again, you guys, what you feel in that glute is different to what I feel. What you feel, Andrew, compared to what Amanda will feel will also be different. So this is, you get to own your own symptom, your own pain, the sensations that you feel. Not every position works for every person. That's why we need to really, really hone in on what methodical position works for you. What does it feel like and how does it behave? So rule number 2, nature and behavior. Name the sensation that you feel in the bum cheek. Sharp, shooty, burning, tingly, achy. Does it feel like death? Like, what does it feel like? Once you've given it a name, feel how it changes or how it behaves. Does it ease away slowly? Does it ease away quickly? Does it change in its presentation? Does it go from a sharpness to a burniness or sharp to an ache? Does the symptom, does the pain here create a pain somewhere else, like into the groin or up in the back or down into the hamstring or into the foot? I don't know. I can't see what you feel. So we really need to hone in and get you to feel and listen to what's actually happening in your body. So once this pressure or the symptom changes and eases to usually about half of where you first started, let me just progress it a bit further. So drop that. We can glide a little bit away. Just drop that left knee down a little bit further. Now remember, this is a game of millimeters. We're not rolling around, just not thinking. We're literally needing to engage in our body. Now, if you look at my foot that's in contact with the ground, if I do a toe heel kind of movement, that's going to change my pressure delivery to the left-hand side. So subtle movements like that can change the pressure. So that's where we get to rule number 3, being able to apply the perfect amount of pressure in the exact position every single time. Okay, such as that's like in your glute 1. In glute 2, to get to that glute 2, remember we float that foot down, so float the left foot down so it touches the right. I will often put my opposite foot on top. You should feel that sink deeper into your hip, so it starts to hit some of those deeper hip rotators. And again, just micro movements. Look for something in there that's tight or tender. If you open this top leg up, you'll find it'll deload the pressure on the left-hand side. You bring this one across. Boom, there it is, loads it up to the perfect amount of pressure that I can tolerate without creating a pain withdrawal or tensing up and fighting. So being able to apply the perfect amount of pressure in the exact spot every time is where where the magic happens as well. And everyone's been to a therapist where they go too hard too quickly and you tense up and you fight them. Like, that doesn't work. You've also been somewhere where they're just too soft and you're like, oh, you can go a little bit harder there, mate. Or ultimately, they'll be working on a really, really good spot and you're like, oh my God, that feels amazing. And then they just move off it marginally, like a millimetre or two away. And you're just in your own mind thinking, oh man, it's just back there a little bit. So rule number 3 about being able to apply the perfect pressure in the exact position every time means you can be so specifically targeted to what your body needs that too much pressure, not enough pressure, not being in the right spot will never ever happen again. So again, then applying the perfect pressure in the exact spot, super targeted, feel how it feels, feel how it changes. Now, when you're doing that glute 2 position, if you notice that the bum cheek, the opposite bum cheek is coming off, you just wedge that hand in as such, and then that actually just helps with your pressure delivery. And if you get a little bit of a micro glide to target your position, this hand can act like a brake on the big ball as well, so it lets you just actually drop body weight and scour in nice and deep. Now, if you wanted to intensify this is where we can bring in this longitudinal oscillation. So if you look at my body, I just create this longitudinal body rock. My right side doesn't feel too bad, to be honest. But if I was to do that on my left side, yeah, boom, yeah. Okay, so I'm targeting the specific tissue, sinking in, and then I'm just creating this little longitudinal scouring oscillation. All right, and then just move further around once it eases away. Just a couple of other tricks you can start to do there. Cool, so both Andrew, you and Amanda will work on those two. Andrew, you'll then move into that configuration, laying on your side, again, position, placement, pressure, and progression. Top of the hip, identify that puppy. About 6 inches down, there'll be another bony spot. Halfway in between, there's a soft spot. That's where we're targeting. You can bring it in from the front or the back. The different directions just change the angular pressure. So I don't mind which one you do. I often work through both. Because, like I said, it changes the angular pressure and the pressure that you can apply to what you need. So to hop into that spot, I just pop this top foot on the ground, lift my hip up, and drop in at the front. Again, cradling the head, head stays neutral. Perfect pressure, I open this leg up, or bring this one across, it will just change the way I target tissue. Oh, there we go. Feel how it feels, feel how it changes. And essentially we're trying to work all the way around. Ooh. I did go for a long hike and a good bike ride today, so Oh, so I feel this now radiating into the outside of my left ankle. Feel how it feels, feel how it changes. Softening in my hip. And the ankle sensation is retracting slowly. And then let's work my way all the way around. Right, so that's going to be brilliant for your hip. The lateral quad, basically that bony prominence that we have down in the side of the hip, and we take a direct line to the lateral portion of the knee. Now, if we break that up into 5 parts, let's forget the end fifth, forget the top fifth, and we're just going to work in the second, third, and fourth region, basically between, it's the mid 3/5 of that lateral quad. And all we do here, rock the knees back. I tend to start smack bang straight in the middle. And again, just bring some body weight forward from the hip. Feel how it feels, feel how it changes. Now, again, this is a different pain to the hip, it's different to the glute. Reacts differently in everyone. So here, it starts quite intense, then it intensifies even more. In me, it's now starting to vibrate. The speed of the vibration is slowing. And now it's just melting away. Now, when you can apply and have that cause and effect, that's where the magic happens, okay? Now, bringing weight forward for my hip will intensify. If it's too intense, again, I just drop my foot back or just let my hip roll back a little bit so you're in control of delivering the perfect amount of pressure, again, in the exact spot every time. The other super cool one we're going to do is what? So with that, we basically started each of the long pins in second hole in, both sides. Start with a straight quad. All right, so here, again, if I touch the top of my kneecap and then I come up about 2 centimeters, and then I just take a line from the middle of the small ball to the big ball, that line will correlate a couple of centimeters above the kneecap. So from here, the hands just roll down to pick the quad up. Then we place the thumbs between the steel shaft of the ball, the shaft of the spoisma, and the quads. Pick the shaft up, and then intensify the pressure. So from here, again, you can stabilize the inside ball and move the outside. You can stabilize the outside ball and pivot around that for the inside. You can stabilize both and create a push-pull, so some torsion. We can also create some lateral kind of movement there as well, plus or minus that pivot. All right. Now you don't have to take all the quad. You can just take a little bit at a time. So I always try and keep a little bit. See, I've got some space between the shaft and the quad. Try and keep a little bit of space there, just so you don't get in the habit of trying to take every single part of the quad. So that allows us to become far more specific with what we're targeting. Now with your stuff as well, don't forget, here we've started horizontal with the shaft. I'm going to flip the balls around so the little one's now on the outside. Just move myself back there. Right, so horizontal, rather than being, so roll down, pick the quad. Yep, got that, and you can see that space. Now I'm going to go between horizontal and vertical
at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to get that small ball in behind the posterior margin or the back margin of that ITB. Whoosh, and it picks up all that lateral quad. And again, if you use that right hand on the right leg, you can just create that little pickup. Hold the pivot, again, hold the large ball there, and you can sort of pivot around it. So create the tension and then pick it up. Woo, and then just sort of let that baby release. Okay, mate, that's going to be really, really good for you. And Amanda, now with your stuff for the calf, similar concept, but we're going to go back to the basic configuration of the sidecar, which is the same as we use for glute 1 and glute 2, 2 large on one side, 2 small on the other. We're going to find the inside and the outside border of the tibia. So the inside and the outside border of the tibia. Now the 2 large balls are going to sit, again, the shaft, if that's horizontal and that's vertical, we're going to look at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, again, keeping a space from the shaft into the shin, and then we just roll that up. Again, you can hold one, pivot around, you can roll them both up, you can do a push-pull. So I'm going to pull on the right and push on the left, or I'm going to pull on the left and push on the right. You can also do some lateral rotation movements and some torsion as well. Now, feel free to experiment with that, because it's all about the perfect amount of width. You can try that same configuration that we did with Andrew for the quad, because that, I think, will give you almost the perfect amount of pressure and have the smaller ball on the inside, okay? The other one we'll do for you, Amanda, is we'll bring those puppies, the big ones, one closer. As such. And now we're going to hit that soleus and Achilles. So again, pop the 2 large balls into the bottom, so just above the back of the heel, the base of the Achilles. Just roll them up so you can, and you'll feel a bit of a stop point, which is basically the back of the tibia. Once you've got that, see how the little balls are sort of facing up to my hamstring. Once you've got that and they're caught on, just drop those balls back down. So now do that on a different angle. Boom. So lock them in. Yep. So you pick up the calf and just let the smaller ones drop back down. And then just work those 2 large ones up. Again, keeping your hands on the balls, not the little ones. We're not dragging with the shaft. Hands are on the balls that are actually touching the body. So it's literally your hands are doing the work. So it's really good for brain feedback and whatnot. Now, once you've got to the end point, don't overcrush this one to start with. Just take it to maybe a 6 out of 10. Once you've got a 6 and it's fairly firm, I'll then get you to try and keep the heel planted on the ground and pull the toes back towards the face and then relax. So you create this little foot paddle. So we're using the muscles at the front of the shin to help the muscles at the back actually relax. And that simple rule there is basically, it's called reciprocal inhibition or agonist-antagonist. When the muscles at the front contract, so biceps contract, the triceps, their opposite, have to relax. So when muscles at the front contract, it forces these ones to relax, as well as we're releasing them at the same time. So yeah, guys, work on those for me, please. The other thing I want you to try and focus on is a little sitting drill. So you need a sort of a hard surface, hips and knees roughly 90 degrees, feet flat on the ground, although mine are not. I've done this a few times, so just for demonstration purposes, what I want you to do is put 2 hands underneath your bum cheeks, and I want you to wiggle around, and I want you to try and feel the 2 sit bones in your bum, so 2 ischial tuberosities they're called. You don't need to know that, but that's, I just want you to feel and wiggle around. So what you'll feel is they feel like two half eggs. I want you to try and just wiggle around until you can sit on the apex of those two bits with equal weight bearing. Once you've got them, I want you to be lazy and slouch. That's what happens when we slouch. So you roll off the back. Again, if I was to say, guys, sit up tall, stop slouching, what most people do is they sit up tall from their shoulders and push their chest out, pull their shoulders back, and what will actually happen is you'll roll forward and you'll actually go into an anterior pelvic tilt. So the weight will go to the front of those bony prominences. So don't need to worry about this too much. I just want you to get this little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Try and find the apex of those two bony bum bits. Feel the difference between rolling off the back and anteriorly tilting forward, where you roll off the front, roll off the back, roll off the front. Just get that, but try and then find that midpoint of perfect pressure on the apex of those two bony bum bits, and then we'll explore that one a little bit further. All right, guys, so thank you again, and yeah, looking forward to seeing great results with you both. I'll chat to you in a couple of days, but I'll flick you a message very shortly. Take care, and let's crush it. Cool.